Hey guys, we're going to continue with factoring trinomials this week. So last week you guys learned how to factor with the greatest common factor, and also you learned how to factor by grouping. So today we're going to learn a new method. It's called the AC method. So the first thing you need to realize is when you have a quadratic, and a quadratic is simply an expression when your exponent is raised to the second power. So that's why these are all quadratics. The way this is written is in standard form because we have our highest exponent in the front. So that leading coefficient is letter A, okay? The next number in line in standard form, the number that's being multiplied by your variable to the first power is letter B, and then your constant at the end is letter C. And these are always, I'm not just labeling those letters. I mean, that's just in algebra, that's the label that these terms are always going to be given. Especially as we start using the quadratic formula, you need to know which number is A, which number is B, and which number is C. So when we're talking about the AC method, so obviously we see here, my pen is, anyway. All right, so see how when you put two variables together, it represents multiplication, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're multiplying A and C together. So let me get rid of all this mess. So we're going to multiply 2 times -9, and we get -18. So basically what we're looking for is two numbers that multiply to give us -18, but add to give us letter B, that middle term, right? So let's think of all the factors of -18. 1 and -18, or -1 and +18 will give us a product of -18. 2 and -9, or -2 and +9. And we're trying to get a sum of -3. So far, I don't see that. And then the next one would be 3 and -6, or -3 and +6. So don't you agree that these two terms will give us a sum of -3? Yes. So we're going to rewrite this expression, and we're going to divide up this middle term into these two new terms right here. Okay. So in other words, we're going to bring down our first term, 2x squared. Now we're going to use these new numbers right here, +3x minus 6x, and then we bring down letter C. Now, if I simplified this expression, I would get what I started with, right? These are equivalent, which makes me know I did it right. So then we're going to use this skill from last week where we're going to factor by grouping. So these first two terms, I can factor out an x. So I get 2x plus 3. The second parentheses, remember I'm trying to get exactly what's in this set of parentheses. So I'm going to factor out a -3, and then I get 2x, -9 divided by -3 is +3. So my two parentheses match, which means that that is a factor. One factor is 2x plus 3, and the other factor is what's outside the parentheses put together. So I have x minus 3. And that's my answer. So then if I FOIL this expression, I'm going to get back what I started with. All right, so then let's look at the next one. Just like last week, the first thing you want to know is, do all three of these terms have something in common? So here we do have a 3. I can divide them all by 3. So 15x squared divided by 3 is 5x. -27 divided by 3 is -9x, and minus 2. Okay, so 3 is going to be part of our final answer, but for now I'm going to ignore it, and I'm going to do the AC method. So I'm multiplying 5 times -2. So I'm looking for a product of -10 with a sum of -9. So I know that I can get 10 by multiplying 1 times -10. 1, oh my goodness, 1 times -10. So does 1 times -10 equal -10? Yes. And does 1 plus -10 equal -9? Yes. So that's our combination right here. Now, although we can't tell what that is, it should be a 1. So I'm ignoring the 3 for now. So I'm going to bring down A. I'm going to rewrite B to my new term. So plus 1x minus 10x, and then bring down letter C, which is -2. So you're rewriting that middle term to your 2 new numbers, right? Now, if I simplified this, I'd go back to what I started with. So once again, I am going to simplify by grouping. So here's my first group and here's my second group. So what do these have in common? They have in common an x. So I have 5 plus 1, right? And then I'm going to divide these by -2, and I get 5x. Whoops, I forgot my, wait, what'd I do? Oh, I dropped my squared, you guys. This should be 5x. I caught it when I was trying to make this one match. So -10x divided by -2 is positive 5x, and then -2 divided by -2 is positive 1. So now if I didn't drop my exponent of 2, I would see that they match exactly. So 5x plus 1 is one of my factors. My other factor is x minus 2. And then finally, don't forget about your 3, because that is part of your answer. If you don't have the 3, then this expression is not going to match your original one. All right, why don't you guys try it if you feel comfortable? If not, I'm going to keep working. You can pause me anytime and check your answers, okay? So when I'm looking at this one, these don't all have something in common, so that's not going to work. So I'm going to do AC. So I'm going to multiply 3 times 12, and I get 36. So I'm looking for a product of 36 and a sum of 13. So I can go through the list. 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12. 3 and 12, no, 4 and 9. That's it, 4 and 9. 4 and 9, that's it. So 9 times 4 is positive 36, and 9 plus 4 is 13. So here's our 2 new numbers that we're going to replace 13 with. So we're going to bring down 3x squared plus 9x plus 4x plus 12. Look at it again. Make sure if I simplify, I get what I started with. Now I'm going to factor. So I'm going to divide this by 3x. Yep. So I would have 3x plus 3. And then I'm going to multiply, I'm going to divide by 4. So I get, what did I do? Oh, guys, my goodness. 3x divided by 3x squared divided by 3x is 1x. I hope you are catching my mistakes before I do. You probably are, I have no doubt. All right, so 4x divided by 4 is x plus 3. So since I know I need these to match, that's how I've caught my last 2 mistakes. So hopefully it'll help you when you make a silly little mistake like me. All right, so then 3x plus 4 is a common factor, and the other factor is x plus 3. Awesome. All right, we're going to multiply 3 times 4 and get 12. So we're looking for a product of 12 and a sum of 7. Did you get it? 3 and 4. So we're going to bring down 3y squared plus 3y plus 4y plus 4. And then we're going to factor by grouping. So we're going to do this and this. And I'm going to do this way over here. All right, so I can factor out a 3y. And I get y plus 1. And I can factor out a 4. And I get y plus 1. So my answer is 3y plus 4, and then y plus 1. That was a lot like the last one, wasn't it? All righty. All right, let me get rid of all this stuff. Move on. All right, so 4 times -1. Where's my pen? Here it is. 4 times -1 is -5. So we're looking for a product of -5. And a sum of -3. So let's see. The only factors of -5 are 1 and 5. The only factors of -5 are 1 and 5, and there's no way to get -3 from that combination, which means this is not factorable. And you'll get that every now and then. So next week, when we learn the quadratic equation, we'll be able to factor it that way, but our factors won't be whole numbers, okay? So if you tried that one and you were confused, it's because it's not factorable. All right, let's look at the next one. So first of all, did you factor out a 3? Hopefully you did. So we have 2y squared plus 5x plus 3. So now we're going to do our AC method. So we're going to multiply 2 times 3, and we get 6. Product of 6, sum of 5. And did you think it was 6 and 1? It can't be 6 and 1 because we would have to end up subtracting them, but we have to have 2 positive numbers or 2 negative numbers to get a positive product, right? So it's 2 and 3. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 plus 3 is 5. All right, so we're going to ignore that 3 for a few minutes, but we're going to break down this trinomial, or we're going to probably, I guess you could say, we're going to increase the number of terms. All right, so now if we simplified this, we would get back the second line there. So now we're going to use our skills from factoring by grouping. So we got this and this. So we're going to bring out a 2x. We have x plus 1. And then we're going to bring out a positive 3, and we get x plus 1. So our answer is x plus 1 times 2x plus 3. And then don't forget that we factored out a 3. There we go. How's that? All right, I'm going to erase all this. The next one, we're going to multiply 2 times 4, and we get 8. So what 2 factors will give us 8 and a sum of 9? So that would be 8 and 1. Bring down 2x squared plus 8x plus 1x plus 4. Then we're going to group. So 2x, so we get x plus 4. And then we don't need to factor anything out, so we're going to write plus 1, and then we're going to write x plus 4, just like we did last week. So now our answer is x plus 4 and 2x plus 1. Wonderful. I know you guys are getting this right, are so smart. All right, now let's factor out a 2. So we have 5x squared plus 1x minus 4. All right, we're ignoring that 2 for a few minutes. So 5 times -4 is -20. We need a -20 and a positive 1. So to get a negative product, we need 1 positive and 1 negative. And since we have a sum of a positive number, that means the biggest of the 2 numbers has to be positive. You understand what I'm saying? So 5 times -4 is -20. But 5 plus -4 is positive 1. So figuring out those signs might be probably the most challenging part, but you got to think it through. You got to have a positive 1 in the middle. That means the 5 must be positive. So we're ignoring our 2 for a few minutes. We have 5x squared plus 5x plus 1x minus 4. Now we're going to do our grouping. So we're going to pull out, I'm going to come up way up here. Woo. All right, we're going to pull out a 5x. So we get x plus 1. And then we're going to pull out what'd I do, you guys? That's not going to match, is it? Did I mess up? -20. Because I wrote is that right? Yeah, that should be, you guys, I'm so sorry. This is supposed to be a -4. What am I doing? Okay, sorry. Pen, take away. All right, so this should be -4x. Okay, so I always catch it when I know these should match. So anyway, now we're doing a -1. No, we're not. We're doing a -4. Oh my goodness. We're taking out a -4. So then we get x plus 1. Man, that was difficult for me. All right, so what's one of our factors? It's x plus 1. And then the other one is 5x minus 4. And did you remember to add your 2 at the end? Hopefully you did. All right, what else we got? Oh my goodness. Okay. Here we got 2 more. All right, so they don't have a common factor. Nope. So then we're going to get 3 times 4 is 12. All right, 3 times 4 is 12. So we need a sum of 12 with a product of 12 and a sum of -8. Well, that would be +6 and -2, right? Nope, that can't be right because that would give us, actually we need both negatives because -6 times -2 is +12 and -6 plus -2 is -8. So that's correct. Okay, so we're going to bring down 3x squared. Now look, this has 2 variables. So when you rewrite your 2 new terms, it has to be the same variables as that middle term, okay? So -6xy minus 2xy, and then we bring down 4y squared. All right, so let's do our 2 groups. So what does this have in common? We can bring out a 3 and an x, right? 3 and an x. So this would leave us x. This would leave us -2y. All right, and now we can bring out over here, we can bring out a -2y, and that would leave us a +x and a -2y, right? Now they match perfectly. So we have 3x minus 2y times x minus 2y. So that's the only difference. When you have that extra variable, you're still doing the same thing. You just, you got to have one more thing in your mind when you're doing it. All right, and then finally we have 3 times 1. 3 times 1 is 4. Is there any way to get a sum of 6 with the factors of 4? There is no way, because the only 2 factors of 4, well, so we have 1 and 4 itself, which can't add or subtract to give us 6. And the other combination would be 2 and 2. There's no way to get 2 and 2 together and get 6. So this one is not factorable. Not factorable. Okay? All right, but always double check those. When you think right at first, oh, it's not factorable, just take your time, look at it a couple more times and see. All right, now when your leading coefficient is 1, you're still kind of doing the AC method, but you could just do it all in one step. For example, 1 times 35 is 35, right? So we can skip that middle part where we're writing 4 terms, and we just immediately go, okay, we need 2 terms that multiply to give me 35, but I still need a sum of -12. So think of all your factors of 35. So it's going to be -5 and -7. -5 times -7 is +35, but -5 plus -7 is -12. Well, I'm not going to make this 4 terms. I'm just going to go ahead and split up x squared. So the square root of x squared is x. And then there's my terms right there. I'm going to write minus 5 and minus 7. Easy peasy. So now to check my answer, I would FOIL this. X times x is x squared, minus 7x minus 5x. So that would simplify to negative 12x. And negative 5 times negative 7 is positive 35. Okay, so this is when our leading coefficient, oops, I moved that. I don't know if y'all can see what I just did, but now it's in my way. Oh my goodness, now I can't move it. All right, anyway. So we're just skipping that one step when A equals 1, when A equals 1. All right, so once again, we have a 1 here. So basically, we're trying to get a product of 10 and a sum of 7. So that's going to be 5 and 2. So we're going to distribute the x, find the square root of x squared is x, and then our two terms are plus 5 and plus 2. Isn't that easy? All right, we're trying to get a product of 24 and a sum of negative 10. So that would be what? Negative 6 times negative 4 is positive 24, and negative 6 plus negative 4 is negative 10. So the square root of x squared is x and x. And our two numbers are minus 6 and minus 4. Now we're trying to get a product of negative 24 and a sum of negative 5. So let's think of 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8. So if we want a negative sum, our biggest number has to be negative, right? Yep, that's it. So the square root of x squared is x. And then we have a minus 8 and a plus 3. And you can always go back and FOIL them and make sure your answers are right. We need a product of 6 and a sum of negative 5. So this tells me my two signs have to be the same. And here's a good hint. This tells me what the sign of those two numbers are. When this is a plus, it tells me my two signs are the same, and this tells me what those signs are. For example, here I had two positives, right? Here I had two negatives. Here I had two negatives. When this is a negative, that means the signs must be different. And this tells me what the sign of the bigger number is. So as you start doing these and you see that pattern, it makes it a little easier, okay? If this is negative, if letter C is negative, it means your two signs are different. And this tells you the sign of the biggest number. If this is a positive, it means your signs have to be the same. And this tells you what those signs are. This means same. This means they're both positive. This means the same. This means they're both negative. Negative. I was about to do 6 and 1, but that wouldn't give me negative 5. It has to be negative 3 and negative 2. All right. So square root of x squared is x and x. And then we have minus 3 minus 2. Here's our answer. Here we have a product of negative 20. This tells me my two signs are different, and this tells me this biggest sign to get positive 1, the biggest number has to be positive. So that would be 20 and 1, wouldn't it? And the biggest number is positive. So 20 times negative 1 is negative 20, and 20, oh, that's not right. Oh my goodness, you guys, that's not going to give me 1, silly. It's going to be 5 and 4, isn't it? Crazy, Miss Richardson. So positive 5 and negative 4. So 5 times negative 4 is negative 20, and 5 plus negative 4 is positive 1. So square root of x squared is x and x. And then we have a plus 5 and a minus 4. All right, this tells me my two signs are the same, and my biggest sign is negative. No, that's not right. This tells me my two signs are the same, and this tells me they're both negative. They're both negative. So I need a product of positive 42 and a sum of negative 13, which means I'd have negative 6 and negative 7. So I'm going to split up my x. X times x is x squared. And then we have minus 6 and minus 7. And that's the answer. And then finally 10. I need a product of 10, a sum of 3. This tells me I have the same signs. They're both positive. So how do I get a product of a sum of 3? There's no way. Because 10 would be either 1 and 10 or 2 and 5. But they have to be the same sign. So if I did 2 and 5, I'm going to get 7. And if I do this, I'm going to get negative 7. So this is not factorable. This is not factorable. There's no way to get that. All righty. Okay, guys, that's it. So like I said last week, once you start doing some factoring, then you start getting used to it. A lot of people kind of think it's fun because it's like taking a puzzle, taking it apart, put it back together again, right? All right, guys. Well, you all have a great week, and let me know if I can help you in any way.